The moment Democrats stop stomping their feet over the abortion rights, once they fucking finally simmer down when it comes to that stuff, what are they going to start pushing? Student debt loan forgiveness, because, hey, 2024 needs something. They just need a little kick in the ass for that, because, hey, you got to fucking plan long term with this shit, right? But here's the thing, you know, they have their idea, they have their grand scheme up at the top, but haven't really thought it out that well. White House has not studied how forgiving student loans may impact inflation. Of course they haven't. Biden administration is weighing up using income to determine eligibility as part of a potential plan to cancel hundreds of millions of dollars of federal student loan debt, but has not analyzed how it would impact inflation, the White House said Monday. Great. Biden promised during his 2020 presidential campaign that he would cancel $10,000 of student debt for each borrower. How awesome. It addressed the root cause, but hey, here we are. An analysis by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York says that doing so would translate to canceling $321 billion in federal student loans, or the entire balance of what are 11.8 million borrowers. Last week, wow, that's an impressive amount of money for just a small amount of people, considering how many people go to college and get useless degrees. The president floated the idea again, which would possibly be through executive action, although it is unclear if he has the legal authority to do so, but that hasn't stopped him from trying literally anything. Remember how well the OSHA vaccine enforcement worked out? He tried it. Didn't work out for him, though. Better luck next time. During the White House press briefing on Monday, Press Secretary Jen Psaki was asked whether the income cap for potential student loan relief was being considered. There is, and he has talked about back when he ran for president. That's nice. Psaki stressed that income caps would ensure that other relief is targeted to those graduates who have the greatest need. That's funny. Aren't you supposed to go to college and get a good degree so you can get a good high-paying job instead of just, getting a gender studies degree and working at fucking Starbucks? Weird. At the point where we have a final proposal or final executive action or anything along those lines. No, we're just thinking about it. We're just trying to plant it in the mind of the people so that, we have a platform to run on in 2024. Don't worry about it. Joe Biden will get around to all of his campaign promises. Eventually. But I want to go down to top 5 list because it's fun. 5 reasons Joe Biden can't force taxpayers to pay other people's student loans. Yeah, exactly. Not my problem. Not any taxpayer's problem. Want to get worthless fucking degrees? You pay for them, okay? And instead, if you want to talk about student loan forgiveness, yeah, it sucks for the people who took out those fucking loans, but you deal with them, okay? Or at least make them bankruptable. Is that the proper terminology? Because even if you declare bankruptcy, you still have to pay back your student loans, which is totally fucked, by the way, but the government always has to get their cuts, right? Address the fact that tuition is all the way through the fucking roof and it only continues to climb. Why exactly? Too much government interference. Okay, there was a time back in the day you could go to school, you could get a degree, you could get a master's degree, and you could have a very, very, very cushy living, but there's just too many disciplines, too much government interference, too much government funding, and that's what's made the education industrial complex what it is right now, and that's why everything costs so fucking much. On April 25th, President Joe Biden gave his strongest indication yet that he would unilaterally force taxpayers to pay off other people's student debt loans. Biden is hopeful to restore his dire approval rating among young people, 85% of whom apparently want other people to pay for their personal spending. Yeah, probably the people that they polled were those who hold a PhD in lesbian arts. What politician could resist giving out other people's money? No, of course. That's why, 40% of all currency in circulation right now was printed in the past 2 years. Politicians don't give a fuck, and now we're all paying the price. Let's put aside for a second that giving student loans is a regressive wealth transfer. Yep, it's unfair to past loan holders, an inflation bomb, and incentivizes colleges to raise their tuitions even higher. Yeah, exactly. You give everybody $10,000 off the top. Great. Tuition just went up. Another $10,000. And there's another real problem. The administration has no legal authority to pursue its punishment on the working class in favor of lawyers, doctors, and the unemployed arts history PhDs. Yeah, sucks to suck. But here are the top 5 reasons you can't forgive loans you don't own. Proponents of nationalizing $1.75 trillion in student debt claims the U.S. Secretary of Education has the power to absorb such debt pursuant to the Higher Education Act of 1965, the worst year ever on record for a multitude of reasons. This act is set up a public-private loan program where the federal government didn't directly own any student loans. Rather, private lenders lent money to students at capped rates in exchange for the federal government backing the loans. Oh, okay, cool. So that's a pretty good reason. These government-backed loans had specific terms on deferments, default, and repayment. That's why you can't claim bankruptcy and then have your student loans absolved. For example, the borrower served in the Peace Corps. The borrower could defer paying principal, but interest would accrue for up to 3 years. That's ridiculous. Also, students whose families made less than $15,000 per year, the government would pay a portion of the interest. Oh, great. Not the principal, just some of the interest. Oy vey. In addition, Congress provided general authorities to the Secretary of Education to oversee the program, including that the Secretary may enforce, pay, compromise, waive, or release any right, title, claim, lien, or demand, however acquired, including any equity or any right or redemption. Today, this catch-all provision is cited by big government advocates like Elizabeth Warren, but yeah, no, we don't need to listen to what she has to say. All we need to do is just pay attention to the smoke signals. Number 2, Congress gets specific without loan bailouts. 1992, Congress granted specific loan flexibility to students experiencing financial hardship by allowing up to 3 years of principal deferment. Congress clearly articulated that economic hardship meant making minimum wage or living at 100% of the poverty line for a family of 2. Moving on to 2003, when Congress passed another specific law following the attacks on 9/11 in 2003 to provide the Secretary flexibility to provide forbearance and occasionally cancellation, but only to affected students, meaning students who joined the military or who were harmed by a national emergency. That's all right. That makes a little bit more sense. Okay, in 2010 under Barack Obama. Hilariously, to pay for Obamacare. The public-private loan system was subbed out for one of direct government loans, and the Secretary's broad powers to oversee the program carried out. But words only have meaning for context for 5 reasons. Congress undeniably did not give the Secretary blanket bailout power, not in 65, 92, 2003, and definitely not fucking today, because it's still not their money at the end of the day. 3 just kind of seems like a roll into 2 as well. Number 4, if no questions asked, loan forgiveness actually existed, you would know. Oh yeah, exactly, because there'd be many other loans that would just immediately go away like that. And no one is above the law. Our system of constitutional governance, president lacks dispensing authority, that is, the power to override the law in the interest of justice. Yeah, exactly, especially if there's already laws that were passed a multitude of times, 65, 92, and 2003, as well as 2010. You think that there would probably be things that you could get your buddies, because the Democrats control both houses. We need to get this figured out. It's almost like to the wider population, you know what? They don't want to have to carry big burdensome loans with the idiots who just get useless degrees. Sorry about that. It's a good reason. If the executive official can bypass specific prohibitions in the law based on vague reference to a board authority, our country risks transforming into exactly the monarchical dispensation system our founders sought to avoid. Yeah, agencies by law cannot spend money that they don't have and must try to collect on debts owed to the United States government. The Arch Deficiency Act, for example, captures the seriousness of Congress regards its constitutional powers over the budget by holding federal employees personally and criminally responsible for spending funds not appropriated. The Congressional Budget Office in 2010 predicted the student loan system would earn the government $68 billion over 10 years, which eliminates the idea that Biden can spend $2 trillion in loan bailouts. It's related to debts owed the federal government. Federal agencies shall aggressively collect all debts arising out of activities or referred or transferred for collection services to that agency. So you can't do it It's not legally there. It's just like all of the obfuscation when it comes to the Roe v. Wade debate, okay? Oh, see, Republicans are taking away your right to choose, and I can get rid of your student loan forgiveness if you just make sure you vote blue in November. You can't do either, and the words actually have fucking meaning. Maybe some of these people who are in charge should go back to school and fucking figure it out themselves. With all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.